Welcome to this meeting of the Accessibility Advisory Committee for the City of Quinte West. As our name implies, we are an advisory committee and our duty is to report and advise on all matters that fall within our mandate and to recommend such actions to council as may be deemed necessary. We are not able to bind or compel council to any recommendation we may discuss or make. First of all, do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest to be declared today? Seeing none, we will move on to the approval of the agenda of the meeting that each of you have in front of you, and we will need a mover and a seconder. Okay, lots of choices. Moved by committee member DeLine, seconded by committee member Robbins, that the agenda for the meeting be approved. All those in favor? Carried. Next, we move to the approval of the minutes of the meeting of April 25th of 2024. Once again, moved by committee member Kloss, seconded by Councillor Sharp, that the minutes of the meeting be approved. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Next is delegations and presentations, which we have none. So we will move to public input. And seeing no public input, we'll move to the items for the committee's consideration. A will be a staff report on the customer Quinte West 2024 00077 customer service trial and City Hall renovation update. Caleb Dan Uden, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. So this report, you may remember we came to the Accessibility Committee when we were doing renovations at the upstairs at City Hall. This was a follow-up report to Council to basically confirm the position that the upstairs counter would be the full-time counter for all city operations, and the downstairs payment counter would no longer be required for city payments. So with that change happening, we've made an agreement with the library to take over that space, and this city will have access to some library space for storage, so there's a bit of a transition there. And in doing so, it'll require some renovations. And so once renovations are triggered at City Hall, that triggers us to bring a report to accessibility for your review to ensure we're meeting the accessibility requirements of any renovations. The renovations are more driven by the library in this case, so what they envision for that space. So I can't comment too much on the vision for the space, but we do have a couple renderings in the attached report that show what they were envisioning. And we've got Sean Beamer with me, facilities manager, who will help with the renovations. Essentially, the counter will be glazed over, no longer used as a counter, as it was not an accessible counter anyway. And there will be a door for the public to use. The door historically was only used for staff members, and the door will be used for the public to go in and out of that room. Otherwise, the renovations are not too substantial. So, yeah, we're looking for any kind of comments or feedback from this committee.
We're open for discussion. Just before we do, I want to welcome Councillor Freeman. We were looking and not seeing for a while.
Yes, thank you. It's all mixed now, Mr. Chair.
And we are looking for discussion on the presentation regarding the city renovations. Any input? Committee member Robbins.
I'm just wondering if there's going to be an accessible door, considering that it'll probably be a space used for younger children and that sort of thing, or people with a stroller walking with their children. I think it's necessary that there should be an accessible door.
Through you, Chair. Yes, our plan is to install a door operator on the main door for the library side. And then the other side is for meeting space for the city, which we'll plan to put an operator on there in the future as well.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the renovations? Seeing none, we will be looking for a motion and a seconder to receive the report. Moved by Committee Member Deline, seconded by Councillor Sharp. All those in favor? Motion is carried. And now we will move on to the staff report regarding the site plan review for 15 Trip Boulevard and also 55 Highway 33 by our coordinator and deputy clerk.
Thank you, Chair. As noted in my staff report, these are two site plans that were circulated through to us that required comments prior to this meeting. So in my position as accessibility coordinator, I did review the site plans and noted that the only comments we could make on the 15 Trip Boulevard were about whether or not there would be ramping into the portables. I've been advised by the chief building official that the plans as provided do meet the Ontario Building Code, which does speak to some sort of ramping. However, when I did a site visit, I didn't see any type of ramping on the on what's there existing. The school board has been made aware of our comments. I don't know what whether or not there will be any revisions to the plans because it's not public property. Like, it's not the city's property. We can't force that, but we can provide them with our insight. The site plan for Highway 33, the only thing that we could comment there was to remind them that their parking requirements, they need to have two type A and two type B, and request that they put them as close as possible to the doors that the parking spots service. So, any questions?
Councillor Sharp.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair, and to Louise. And yes, we provided comments, and they meet, I guess, the standards. But, we did ask for a ramp, and it doesn't appear that they're going to do that by the existing site. Is there any value in writing the school board a letter on behalf of the committee with regard to, we'd really encourage this, or is that just, I guess, not appropriate thing to do, or I'm just trying to think, we did provide that as a comment, and they did do as they're required, but is just there any value in doing so, or would it cause harm, I guess, in any way?
Through you, I don't see the harm
Right.
in corresponding with them if you wish me to send a letter from the accessibility committee and ask them to.
Yeah, if the other members feel that's appropriate, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Committee Member McDonald.
That was going to be my comment, that I find it a little concerning that a school that should be accessible to all children wouldn't take our recommendations seriously. So I certainly would support a letter going from the chair of this committee to the school board. But fairly, how do I put this? A respectful but fairly directive letter. Yes, I think this is something that a lot of schools across the province are beginning to experience. And as, yes, so that would be my recommendation.
No, I don't know. I have a question, I guess, whether we need a motion that we send a letter that we strongly urge the positioning of ramps for these buildings. In that case, I would need a motion and then a seconder.
I'll make the motion that we send a letter to the school board strongly recommending that they make all of their buildings accessible to everyone.
Motion by council, or committee member, I'm giving you a
Thank you.
boost. Committee member McDonald and seconded by committee member Deline, that we send the letter strongly urging that ramps be put in place. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion is carried. That carries on to the rest of the report by our coordinator. We need, is there any more discussion regarding possibly the other site plan? If not, we need a motion and a seconder to receive the report.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by committee member Deline, seconded by committee member Fost, that we receive the report. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion is carried. This brings us to new and other business, and we have under A, a verbal update regarding past agenda items, once again from our accessibility coordinator, Louise Smith.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to advise the committee that I have put out or provided you with a supplementary bit of information about accessibility awards, information research that we've done. So within this area, the City of Belleville launched accessibility awards in 2023. Kingston's been doing them since 2021. A number of other municipalities have done them for a while that are outside of this area. Almost all of them, the eligible nominees have to be residents of the city. They have to be organizations or businesses that are active within the city, which have had a positive impact on accessibility. Almost all of the awards as well are asked to identify or nominate based on whether or not it's built environment, customer service, education, employment, or information and communications, basically the 5 standards of the ISAR. So I would be comfortable in formatting anything that we're looking at doing along the same lines. A number of the municipalities award them in conjunction with the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, which is the day that our our accessibility plan specifies that we do recognition or some sort of educational promat. So we would, I believe, have sufficient time to put together something to do awards this year, if the committee is in support of doing that type of recognition. I note that other municipalities in the area, Brighton, Coburg, Port Hope, Northumberland, they do civic awards. They don't do specifically accessible or awards for accessibility. So we would kind of be breaking new ground for this particular, for the municipalities in this area, if we were to move forward with this.
Committee member McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. I would be in support of us, in fact, moving on something like this. And I do like, as I read, I liked the Kingston. I thought that was pretty straightforward and shouldn't be overly onerous in terms of expectations of nominees or the people doing the nominating. I just thought it was, they covered off all the areas, and I think it's a really very positive way to raise and educate around accessibility, just being part of everyday business. So I would support us doing something around an accessibility awards.
Councillor Sharp?
Through Mr. Chair, I certainly support doing an accessibility award, and I'm sure Louise can help fine-tune the process, but I too like the city of Kingston. I like that they included healthcare and transportation, which Belleville did not, and I think that's got some really good ones, so any way we can make that happen as our award ceremony for National Accessibility Day, if we can make that, I think that would be wonderful. And in terms of what that award looks like, maybe that's something also, Louise, with staff, you could propose something going forward. But I think that's a really good one. Thank you.
I was just going through the minutes quickly to try and find, I thought we had something previous about a committee to look into this, and unfortunately, here we are. And, excuse me, but represented the coordinator, 2 committee members. We have the working group, and
This is to report back to the committee to get your approval to move forward.
so that's what we will do now, that they will report back to us. It's already taken care of here.
No, this
One,
that form,
Oh.
but we now need a motion that the committee wishes to move forward with.
okay, we need a motion that we should move forward with the committee to work on the accessibility awards and what we will be doing.
So the motion should probably read similar to the City of Quinte West establish an annual accessibility award to be awarded in conjunction with our International Day of Persons with Disabilities functions in each year.
And that wording, the motion is made by committee member Klost and seconded by committee member Robbins. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion is carried. Now, do you have any other past agenda items?
That's it, sir.
So we now move to the Committee for New and Other Business. Do we have any new or other business? First off, I see Committee Member Robbins.
I just wanted to say that I was down celebrating Canada Day weekend at Centennial Park, and it was just an incredible venue and lots of attendance. However, I did notice one thing, that most of the food vendors that were not in the pop-ups were not accessible. They didn't have a pathway leading to them. They were on the grass. There was a lot of water retention in the grass due to the rain the day before. And I'm wondering if there couldn't be something that would be a temporary fix to this, such as a Moby mat or something that would assist people with wheelchairs and walkers, or with children in buggies going to the food trucks. That was the only thing that I noticed that was kind of concerning to me.
And I caught part of the conversation earlier on, and I've had that problem in other years with accessing things at Centennial Park that way. Do we forward, is there any recommendation that we can send, or like formally?
Through Mr. Chair, we could advise, from the committee to advise our Director of Community and Partnerships, Community Events and Partnerships, just so they're aware, and the special event organizations are through that department, and it maybe look to something in the budget. I don't know how much a Moby mat would cost, but, you know, to look at this in the future, if there's any ability to improve, particularly in the areas of washrooms and food, at least some of the food vendors. I know it's a very, very large space. And maybe to, through you to the committee, to, I believe, Louise, that would be the appropriate department? Yes. I think that would be the way to go to see what improvements we can make in that particular location.
So if I could get a mover and a seconder, I can then forward this through to CSSP as part of the minutes.
Okay, so I believe we have a motion,
I'll move the motion, Mr. Chair.
and we need a seconder, Counselor Sharp, and as per the discussion we just had, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Other, new and other business still, I'm looking around to see if we have some more. No?
Oh, if
Oh,
if I could,
oh,
Mr. Chair,
Counselor.
I just wanted to comment on just one thing, and that is I think most of you know Mr. Denouden, because he's been here for a couple meetings, but I didn't know if you know Sean Beamer. Sean works for the department that we were just speaking of. And so Sean, I know, will share this discussion also with, yes, with Director Grimman. But I just wanted to thank you also, Sean, for coming. He's manager of buildings, so very well aware of accessibility, and works with all our facilities in Quinte West.
Thank you, and committee member, I'm bound to do that. Committee member McDonald.
Thank you. I'm actually sitting here seriously considering whether I should act on that or not. I'll be forming a PAC shortly. I have a question, and it's just, I understand small businesses have difficulty, but is there some way that we can message to those people who are coming out and food trucks, et cetera, to expect them all to have mats isn't reasonable, but just a message that they take a look at, is there any way that they can make their site accessible? I mean, I've seen places where they've just laid down boards, and it's not expensive, and wheelchairs, if there's not much of a lip, can get up onto the boards. So just, I mean, everything should be accessible. And it's a process, and I understand that, but just message that they take a look at it. Is there anything within their power that they can do to make a site more accessible? Is that reasonable, Louise?
I think it's something that we might be able to get our special events, when they're organizing this, to maybe bring it to the attention
Okay.
of food trucks.
Okay, I would be comfortable with that, just so that we just don't make it totally our the city's responsibility.
Committee member Robbins.
I think one of the issues that I noticed was it wasn't just in front of the food trucks. It was a pathway leading to them. People had to leave a pathway, a paved pathway, either from the pavilion or a parking lot. They had to go over a curb. Some people were going over a curb, going through quite a few hundreds of feet from any given pathway to some of the venues. So that was my concern. They were all kind of stuck in the middle of this field area past the pavilion where the pavement stops. And it is what it is. And so, yeah, in order to get food, some people just couldn't get there.
Myself, I could just add that I wasn't able to make it this year, but previous years I'd seen where a lot of them were along the main paved parkway throughout the park. As much as possible, I guess setting them up might be part of it, where they could be at somewhere with pavement, but I guess we have a motion to let them know how we feel. And I will ask any other new business, and any of the committee members? Hearing none, we will go on to printed information. And that's the municipal resolutions regarding the Accessibility Ontario by 2025, which I went through and I read from the county, and there was another one from, I believe, Loyalist Township? Yes, Loyalist Township. Have committee members had a chance to read these? And I guess through the chair to one of their counselors, has the city of Quinte West looked at doing likewise?
Through the chair, I don't believe we have. I don't know if these two resolutions have come to council. We can, I mean, the one from the county is very fulsome, and we could, request that the Accessibility Committee support this resolution and create a similar resolution to go forward through to council. As I believe it would go through to council, Louise, if it's a formal resolution from this committee and as part of a correspondence?
Yes, we could ask that, we could forward it to council and ask that they support Loyalist Town and the County of Prince Edward in there.
And both?
Yeah.
Okay. If that,
And would you make that in the form of a motion?
I would. I absolutely, yes, I would.
So
'Cause
moved by
we need the,
Councilor-
yes, because we need the money, and we all need to work together, and this is what the intent is here.
Moved by Councilor Sharp, seconder by committee member Kloss, and,
Your mic.
I'm sorry. Moved by committee member Councilor Sharp, moved and seconded by committee member Kloss, that we ask council to make a similar resolution. And all those in favor? Opposed, if any, is none. Motion is carried. Barring that, we have moved to where we need a motion for adjournment. Moved by committee member Robbins, seconded by committee member Deline, that we adjourn at 4:29, we'll call it. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Call the meeting adjourned.